Welcome back to this week's episode of the Rock Solid Sports Podcast. Today is Tuesday, January 28th, and we have a very boring Super Bowl to look forward to.
Unfortunately, it's everything that nobody wanted, so we just got to live with that.
Yeah, we'll talk the championship games, and then we'll look forward to the Super Bowl. A little gambling to throw in there, I guess. Yeah. And, we'll see you on the other side.
We're going to make it, baby.
Welcome back to this week's episode. We are brought to you by Sluv. Make sure you go spread love. Go check them out on Instagram at sluv.co, that is sluv.co, or on their website at sluv.us, that is at sluv.us. There we go. Almost got through it. Almost perfect. We have an Eagles-Chiefs Super Bowl. But I guess first let's talk about how we got there.
Yeah.
I guess we'll start with the first game, Eagles-Commanders. It was an ass whooping.
Yeah, I think what we learned about the Commanders is that there's a very bright and promising future for Washington currently, but it's just not enough yet. And I think that really shined through when they were playing the Eagles, who were just showing themselves to be an unstoppable force. And it's going to be interesting to see how if the Eagles keep playing like that, I'm not sure anybody can beat them. I know the Chiefs are the Chiefs, but I mean, it's just going to be hard when you got a guy who on the first play of offense, goes 65 yards. It's just kind of insane. So he literally has the ability to just change the game, and the Commanders had no way of stopping that, at all. And so he's yelping.
Just tell him to lay down. Okay.
But, yeah, I just think that the Commanders just aren't ready yet. I think they, like I said, have a bright future with Jaden Daniels and that whole offense. Even the veterans are probably going to have for at least another maybe 2-3 years, hopefully. I'm excited to see what they do. But, yeah, the Eagles are just a wagon.
Yeah, 55 points. The Chiefs, I think it was their first time putting up 30 points this whole season this past week, and the Eagles put up 55. I don't know where to start. Saquon, I guess, 3 touchdowns, long of 60, and he ran for 118. He might be the best running back in the NFL by a mile right now.
Yeah, easily. I think, it's probably one of the better running back seasons we've ever seen. He's just unstoppable. That touchdown he scored on that first play was, unbelievable. I think he broke, 5 tackles and, put 2 guys in a spin cycle. Made Sanderstill completely do a 180 and go take a horrible angle. So, it's just unbelievable what he's able to do when he gets the ball in his hands. And it's just, I feel like he has that clutch gene, too, of just being able to push through and kind of get the dub for his team.
Yeah, sorry. Apologies if you hear that. This dog is yelping right now. Hold on.
You might just want to let him out.
I was going to say he's not going to stop.
We'll see. We'll see on the other side. All right, welcome back. Dog is kind of settled for now. We'll find out what happens. I think like you said, the Commanders, not at that level yet, but a great season, especially for where I think, had their expectations, along with a lot of other people, not just us. But, I think we said they were going to, maybe upset a couple teams, like Cowboys maybe, the Eagles. Stopping one of them from making the playoffs. Cowboys obviously out of it, but they ended up making the playoffs themselves, going to the NFC Championship in Jaden Daniels and their head coach's first year on the team. That's pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
And then, we talked about their friskometer meter all year. Do you have a final friskometer meter on the Commanders, or have they exceeded that?
I'm going to say they might be maxed out in Frisky. They might be past Frisky. Frisky was pre-NFC Championship for sure.
Yeah.
They kind of solidified themselves as, hey, we're here unless, we'll see next year, I guess, how they play, but they're there. They're Frisky for show.
Oh, yeah.
Any update for your friskometer?
I agree. I think they're kind of past that at this point. You do certain things and, you stop becoming a frisky team and you just become a good team. And everyone has to go into every single game against you with that thought of, this is one of the best teams in the NFL, and we have to treat it that way because, honestly, the Eagles just offensively beat them. It's not like the Commanders didn't play good offense. They put up 30-something.
Put 23.
23. That's still pretty solid against that good of a defense that the Eagles have. And so I think that's still very impressive. I think that's just some stuff they got to work through. And honestly, it just might be one of those things where it is the Eagles' year maybe. And it's just kind of hard to beat that team. And I think maybe the only team that could have beat them is like a healthy Lions team. But the Commanders, they fought hard. They got a lot further than they did. They went from winning 4 games last year to, only losing a couple this year.
Only losing 5
Yeah,
in the playoff game.
So, yeah, I think it's a great turnaround. It reminds me of the Texans' turnaround last year, from going that low, having a great draft, turning it around, and having a great season after that. So I'm excited to see what they do. I think they're joining that tier with the Texans of like young fledgling team who maybe needs one guy or just stay healthy to really break beyond that barrier and be able to win. So I'm excited to see what Dan Quinn does with this team moving forward, because I think, like I've said 1,000 times already, they have a bright future, and Jaden Daniels is their quarterback for as long as he can stay healthy.
Yeah, they fumbled 3 times. I guess that's like the only bad thing you can really say, and the reason why I guess the score might have been that inflated.
Yeah.
And the Eagles kind of let them hang around, I'd say, until maybe like late second half.
Yeah.
Fourth quarter, I'd say, start of it. But yeah, the Eagles are a wagon right now, and I really hate to say that. They look great. AJ Brown finally got back in the end zone. That feels like it's been months.
Yeah.
Saquon again, three touchdowns. Yeah, I just won't be surprised if this is like a Jalen Hurts, Saquon masterclass. Like Jalen Hurts in terms of like scoring and rushing, really wouldn't say really passing, but if they can play like that, they're gonna probably win the Super Bowl. So, any last notes on that game? Or maybe Commander season going into next year or something?
I think just getting a good draft in here, maybe a good offseason, to make sure that they're filling in some holes and kind of getting to a point where they can really make a push next year. I feel like their only issue is that they are so young and that they're still trying to get it all figured out. So maybe just a few more key pieces. I think they got the coaching to do it. Who knows? I don't think Cliff will be there for too long. I think his window is probably 2 years with the Commanders.
I think he's still going to be there next year just because of how late they went.
No, yeah, and I think he'll be there for at least another 2 or 3 years, but eventually he's going to leave. So I think Commanders, weirdly, after having as bad of a season as they did last season, weirdly have about a 4 to 5 year window to really make a push for this thing, and I'm excited to see what they do with it.
Agreed. Anything else? Sounds good. We'll move on to Chiefs-Bills. Chiefs 32, Bills 29. They did it again.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's that video that's been going around, like, when will somebody make a play for Josh Allen? And that's kind of how it's been. I mean, Josh Allen has played phenomenally perfect against these guys. It's just a tough game. I didn't have too many complaints about it just because it was a pretty clean game. There wasn't too much shit going on to where it was, like, questionable. Like, it really wasn't, like, that. The only thing that you could say was maybe questionable was the 4th and 1 where they say Josh Allen didn't get it. I don't know what was going on with the line judges of like who saw what and where. That's all to them. And honestly, I think I was thinking about this a little bit ago. Everyone always, myself included, talks about how many breaks the Chiefs get and the calls they get. I think the general thing is all the refs suck. I think all the refs just aren't that good. But the problem is that the Chiefs are always in tight games. And so the refs sucking kind of shines through when the Chiefs play because they're always in tight games in big moments.
And they always seem to take advantage of those penalties, too.
Exactly.
If they never took advantage of those penalties, they might not blink an eye half the time.
No, yeah. And I just think it's one of those things where it was just a clean-cut game. The Bills need to figure out what to do to kind of beat them. I mean, it also doesn't help that the Chiefs have become full strength now. Through most of the season, they didn't have any like threats, pretty much. And then as the season is coming to a close, they have like everybody.
They have almost everybody besides like Rasheed Rice.
Yeah, but yeah, Josh Allen's not the problem. I think everyone will tell you that that guy plays literally perfect when he plays the Chiefs. It's just Dalton Kincaid got to catch that ball. Just the little things.
O-line block for 2 seconds.
Literally, like I know that Spags is like a genius of a defensive coordinator, but he also is very predictable in the sense of he's going to send everybody on crazy blitzes. You got to be quick. You got to be able to say, we're only going to send out maybe 2 receivers and a tight end on routes, and we're going to keep everybody else inside to block. Because, I mean, if Josh Allen gets, I think Shakir or somebody was like wide open, but it's like you can't expect
Didn't have enough time.
When he's backpedaling like that and he's got 3 defenders right in his face, he doesn't have the time to find those guys. So I think it's just game planning, kind of trying to figure out how to stop them. Patrick Mahomes, just decent game. Yeah, I mean, just played well. I think it was a very mistake-free game from both sides, really. Like, I think it was just a hard-fought game that the Chiefs just came up on top. And I think they got a lot to work on, and the Bills got to figure out how to beat the Chiefs. And I don't know, looking back on it, I think if the Ravens had fought through that hard-fought game versus the Bills and gotten that experience going into the Chiefs, I think the Ravens would have beaten them. I think they were explosive enough to do so. Whereas in the Bills, when they don't really get that explosion, it's kind of just hard to go. Not having James Cook in when you need that 1 yard doesn't make any sense to me. Just kind of all over the place.
Him only having 13 carries is crazy.
Yeah, and I know that this is said a lot, but I think they are somewhat scared of the Chiefs, and I mean it's just I think they lose who they are when they play them a little bit, but I think they just got some stuff to work through because the Chiefs are better now than they were in the regular season because of how many people have come back, but they're very beatable, and I think if you can shut them down on offense, you can find a way to beat them on defense. And I think that's the biggest thing for the Eagles going into the Super Bowl is I don't think the Eagles let them do too much on offense really. And then it's going to come down to the offense. And I think the Bills just weren't able to keep up. And I think they were maybe a little bit too all over the place and scattered to be able to beat such a constructed team like that.
What was your thoughts, Caden?
I mean, what can you do really? 0-4, which is terrible for Josh, but I don't know. I don't think I really have anything. They do it, like you said. They do it again.
They did it again.
Yeah, that's all I got for them. They've defeated me. I hate them.
Yeah, it's the worst. I mean, it feels like a Super Bowl that nobody really knows who to root for. Obviously, certain teams have vendettas against certain other teams, so there's fan bases. But the rest of America, you don't know.
Yeah.
Some people have personal vendettas, over Philadelphia or Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's just the mutual party is like, shit, I don't want any of these people to win.
Yeah. And, in the same boat as Washington, I think, the Bills do also need a decent amount of props because they lost so many people in the offseason and they were a completely different team. I don't even think any of us really picked them to do anything too special, but they did, and they made it to the AFC Championship game. Do I think that the Ravens were probably better equipped to beat the Chiefs? Yes. But, when you got Josh Allen, you always got a chance. But they just let Mahomes play too freely with them, and that was kind of what was their undoing.
Yeah, not looking forward to this one. I guess we'll talk about the Super Bowl right now.
Mm-hmm.
Any expectations? I guess before we get to that, we'll talk about Scott's his bet because I did cover both championship games. He had a 17-leg parlay, Mr. Rock Solid Fanatic, if you don't know. 17-leg parlay, all ended by, quote-unquote, his words, Mr. Pfizer and Travis Kelce. Yeah, man, it's the devil magic. They're back. I think the script might show. A lot of people were talking, saying he might retire after this.
Yeah,
might propose on the field, even though I think that's very corny.
Yeah,
and I don't think Travis would like that, or Taylor would like that.
I could see him doing it.
Yeah,
especially if they win it.
Yeah, no, if they win it for sure.
Yeah,
if they lose it, definitely.
But I do think that this might be it for Travis. I mean, he had a very, I would call it down year. He didn't really do much. It's not that he sucked. It's just that he was not involved as much. They're going other places. I think people are starting to somewhat figure out how to stop Kelce a little bit. Obviously, when you're one of the best tight ends that have ever played the game, it's kind of hard to stop you. But I think it's just one of those things where he's found himself maybe slowing down a little bit this year. And I think that this season's like George Kittle from last year, where it was who you going to get. I had George Kittle in fantasy last year, and he was either giving you 30 to 40 or he was giving you 5. And that's kind of been what Travis Kelce is. And, maybe that is their kind of game plan of just
rest him.
Every now and then we're going to target this guy, and every now and then we're not. So teams don't really know if, is he still their guy to look for and get the ball to, which obviously he is. He's a mastermind of how to read a zone defense and just sit down in a pocket and just be wide open. He's made his career off of that, and then just being a tank when he gets the ball. But yeah, I don't know. I could see him kind of following his brother's footsteps and kind of going away. But I think the only difference between the two is I don't see Travis really stepping into the limelight like Jason has, to that extent. I could see him being on a talk show every now and then or this, that, and the other. But I think he's more so going to just fold into being, Taylor's husband. Like
trophy husband.
Yeah, he'll keep the podcast going.
He's going to go to like award shows now. That's what he's going to be at.
Yeah, but I don't think he's going to follow the Jason Kelsey line of just being like, I'm going to be on every show. I'm going to be on this. I'm going to have my own show.
He's 100% going to move to New York the second he leaves Kansas City.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, it's just shout out to him on a great career if this is it. I guess we'll have to see. I could see him playing one more if they don't win it. I could see him sticking around and maybe try to make one more run at it and being like, this is my last year. But if they do win it, I really could see him being like, this is probably it.
Yeah. Why not? I mean, what a perfect life. You have, 4 Super Bowls. You're considered a top 3 tight end probably ever. Or you're going to be probably married to a billionaire if everything goes right for him.
Yeah.
Which, shit, I mean, I'm not wishing that bad upon him to, drop a billionaire bag. But, if Travis Kelce does hang it up, I mean, he's Hall of Famer. Well, probably first ballot.
First ballot.
So, sorry that happened. Scott needed him to get over 40 yards. I think he only ended it with 18 or 28, one of the two.
Yeah, I think Christian needed that, too, for his hit.
Not good. But we're back. So we're back in the Super Bowl. We'll actually talk about that on the other side. Jackson's going to talk to you about Verb Energy Bars. And then we're going to talk Super Bowl and our picks for the Super Bowl.
Yes, sir. Verb Energy Bars give you that extra boost that you need in the morning. They have an assortment of different types of bars, whether it's from caffeinated bars for the morning, as well as protein bars, whether in the morning or after your workouts. My personal favorite right now is the chocolate chip banana bread. It's awesome. Helps me get through the day, through the podcast, also through the work throughout the week. So right now, if you go onto their website, use code ROCKSOLID, you can get 30% off your next order. Verb Energy is the best way to start your day. Go check them out.
Welcome back to the second half of the show. We're talking Super Bowl, our thoughts, our picks, maybe our gambling picks. Mm-hmm. I guess we'll start with you, Jackson. Initial thoughts, I know we already kind of talked about it, being a little underwhelming, I guess is the word, because we've already seen the Super Bowl in the last, 3 years. Yeah. Kind of the same teams, and it's just 2 teams you don't really want to root for. Yeah. What are your thoughts going into it? Let me know.
To be honest with you, I'm kind of keeping on my train of, that the Eagles are a wagon. The Chiefs' defense is good. I don't think it's going to be good enough, to be honest with you. I think that Saquon's too big of a force, and that's going to be a problem for them. They've just been, I don't know, Saquon has not had a problem getting touched by anybody, and I think that's going to carry through as well. I don't know. I just think the Eagles are just going to be able to do this thing. When I initially picked the Bills to beat the Chiefs, that was definitely more of I want the Bills to beat the Chiefs. This one is I sincerely think that the Eagles have what it takes to not only beat the Chiefs, but kind of handle them in a way. Probably won't happen because that's usually not how the Chiefs roll. But I would be shocked if the Eagles' offense at least doesn't have a day out there, because I think they're better than the Chiefs' defense, which is great, but I think it all comes down to Spagnuolo. And I think that if his blitzes don't work, I think that that's when the game plan kind of falls apart. And I think the Eagles' offensive line might be a little banged up, but I think that I feel like the Super Bowl kind of makes all injuries kind of go away. You kind of don't.
Last game of the season.
Yeah, shoot me up with whatever you got. Yeah. I'm not going to feel anything. It's fine. I have the whole
Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I'm playing.
No, exactly. So
you literally might only have one chance to ever play.
Yeah. I think it's going to be somewhat of what I expect to see, or what I would love to see, is for it to be kind of like the Commanders game, where it's Chiefs aren't playing bad, but they cannot stop the Eagles from scoring, and I think that's going to be the book of this game. I don't think the Chiefs do three-peat, because I think they've run into a wagon that can't really be stopped too much, and maybe they can. I mean, it's to be seen. It's the Super Bowl, so everybody's going to play their best ball, and we're going to see what happens. So excited to see what goes on, but I really do think that the Eagles' offense is just going to be a little bit too much to stop for the Chiefs.
Your thoughts?
I think at this point it's extremely hard to go against their black magic. Yeah. Honestly, I just, as much as I hate to say it, I really think they're just gonna do it again. And I don't know. I can't see a world without them doing it. I'm gonna be honest. I think the Eagles are good enough for sure. It's been proven all season. 15, 16, 18 games now. It's been proven that they're worshiping the devil and that they're winning because of it. And it's fine if that's what you have to do to win. I just think less of you because of it. But
Sold their soul.
yeah, they're just gonna do it again.
What he said, he was like, I think the Eagles are good enough to do it, but I don't see a world where the Chiefs are, whatever, they lose.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Eagles are better than the Chiefs, and I still don't see a world where the Eagles lose or Eagles win. I mean,
Yeah.
I've said it all year. I picked the Chiefs to go 3-peat at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
There's one thing, if I've ever learned anything from watching Pardon My Take, Big Cat, every year he loses an immense amount of bets.
Yeah.
Every year for the last 2 years and the year prior, the 2021 or whatever it was when they played their first Super Bowl that they won against San Fran. It's just not a good idea to bet against Patrick Mahomes, and you always want to be on the right side of history, which in this case would be Patrick Mahomes losing. That's like, Hitler dead kind of thing. But I don't know. The right side of history, sadly, might just be that he's this good. And not even credit to him. I mean, credit to Andy Reid, too. It might just be Andy Reid because Patrick Mahomes has had his worst season probably since he's been in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And they're back in the Super Bowl with a roster that's arguably not better than some of the ones that they've had there already, especially with some of their, their weapons or their secondary. Yeah, man, I think the Eagles are better in literally almost every spot except for maybe quarterback, tight end, even Chris Jones. Like, I mean, they have Jalen Carter. They have a bunch of guys back there. I think the Eagles' O-line's better. I think Saquon's better. I think their receivers are better.
Yeah.
I think there's only lacking coach, tight end, and quarterback. And what I say, as long as those four horsemen are in there, I don't know if I can bet against the Chiefs. So, yeah, I'll stick with what I said preseason. I'll take the Chiefs. Your official pick, the Eagles.
That will be my pick.
Well, you're also the what do they call you guys? The Georgia-Delphia Bull Eagles?
Georgia-Delphia Bull Eagles, yeah.
So you got a lot of guys on that side, too.
do.
A lot of dogs. Your official pick is the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
I think
It's sad.
I think
It's sad for us, man.
there's keys to victory on each side. I think for KC, it's keeping the ball on your side as much as possible. Even if it doesn't end in points, their goal should be to make their drives as long and lengthy as possible to keep the ball out of the hands of Saquon and all those threats that they have on offense for the Eagles. And then I think the key of victory for the Eagles is a lot of teams fall victim to this, and I think that's why, even though the Chiefs haven't been that good all year, they still only lost 2 games. It's one of those things where they make teams play outside of themselves, and they make people change up because they think they have to do this magic thing to beat the Chiefs, when in reality, the best thing you can do is just play your brand of ball. Like, if the Eagles can go out there and play ball the way they can, I think they should be able to get this done. But if they follow suit of everybody else who's played them, who's gotten sporadic and all over the place and kind of played outside of themselves and tried to switch it up because they're scared of this Chiefs team, and that's been a lot of the undoing of a lot of teams this year. And I think if the Eagles can stay focused and treat this as just another game against another team, they'll be able to kind of get this thing done. But if you're the Chiefs, you do not want to give that ball to the Eagles because you know how fast they score.
Yeah, I'm worried, man. I don't know. I don't know. I just don't have much good things to say about this Super Bowl in general. I mean, I think everybody's looking forward to Kendrick Lamar's halftime show.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. So we have that to look forward to. The commercials, per usual.
Yep.
I don't know who's performing like the national anthem or whatnot, but I'm sure it'll be good.
Yep.
So there's a lot of things to look forward to besides the Super Bowl, like besides the matchups, I guess. And we have a whole 2 weeks to digest this.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna have whole 2 weeks to hear everybody's takes on who they think's gonna win, why, what legacy talks, all this. It's the best and worst time of the year for football narratives.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw out my script guess of how this game's gonna go. I personally think that the game's gonna start and the Eagles are gonna be so hot. They're going to go out there flying. I think they're gonna go up maybe 2 touchdowns to start the game. The Chiefs are going to do what the Chiefs do. They're going to catch back up, and it's going to come down to that end of the game because it is probably. And I think this is the one time that the Chiefs aren't going to get the call. They're not going to get the stop. And I think that the Eagles are going to take advantage and stop the three-peat. And I think that's what they have to do. The Eagles, and I said this about the Bills, and they didn't do it. They need to get out the gates fast. They need to give themselves cushion as early as possible to keep up with, the nonsense that's probably going to come up during the game. They have to get out fast. The Bills did not get out fast, and I think they were on their back foot for the whole game. But if the Eagles can jump out the gate quick and put a couple touchdowns up, maybe go up by 2 possessions, I think that could be the difference in the game, because I think the Eagles have the stamina to keep up with the Chiefs. And that's really why I think that if they can jump out fast, I really do believe that the Eagles will beat the Chiefs and stop the 3-beat.
I think, like you just mentioned it, kind of the key to the Eagles' victory has to be they have to be up by 4 points, at least, minimum, going into that last possession. Jesus Christ. They have to be up at least 4 points going to the last possession, because the Chiefs have won the last 17 one-possession games they've been in.
Yeah.
I think the only way the Eagles do it is if they're up by 4, because if they're up by 3, I think we're going into overtime.
Yep.
And if they're, maybe they just stop, Patrick Mahomes from driving all the way down the field and scoring a touchdown. I think they can maybe hold them to like a 4th down, and maybe they don't get that call.
Yeah.
Maybe the devil magic ends. You never know. But I think they have to be up by at least 4 going into that one possession, because like you said, it's probably going to be a one-possession game.
Yep.
And that's something we can look forward to in the betting aspect, at least, because final score predictors get a lot easier.
Yeah.
Speaking of those, take our gambling picks, do whatever. It's a Super Bowl, so there's a bunch of other bets to look forward to, such as Gatorade color, over/under on the national anthem, coin toss, everything. So, and that's depending, I think, in what state you're in, but. Yeah, hopefully if you guys are listening, go take some of these picks, and hopefully we all win together. Jackson, you can start.
So there's 2 bets, there's specials on DraftKings that I'm looking at. The first one's definitely a safer one. Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts to combine for 7+ pass and rush touchdowns. I think that's pretty solid. Sitting at plus 275. It's obviously difficult to do. Both of them need to average at least 4 probably to get that done. So that's going to be interesting. But, yeah, that one kind of sticks out to me. And the one that's a little bit more of a risk, it's sitting at about plus 1,800 right now, is the 1989 bet for Kareem Hunt right now to have 19+ rushing attempts and 89+ rush yards, because I think that folds right back into what I said was the key to victory for the Chiefs, which was keeping the ball out of the out of the hands of the Eagles. So I think that is something that could possibly hit, because I think that Pacheco is obviously not the same after, at least this season, after his injury. He's come back a lot slower and doesn't run as aggressive. So Kareem's going to be getting 90% of the carries in this game, and I could see them just loading him the rock a lot, especially with how dangerous it can be to throw on that Eagles defense. So I do think that they're going to be running, and if you run the ball 19 times, bust a couple, I think that the yards aren't the thing that scare me. It's the attempts, because if you get 19 attempts, probably getting about 98 yards, especially with how hard Kareem Hunt runs. So those are my 2, and I think they kind of do fall. That second one at least falls into that key to victory for the Chiefs. So I think if the Chiefs follow that plan, I think that bet hits, and so I'm interested to see how that pans out. Definitely a risk, but I'm excited to see how they go about it.
That's all the risks. That's what the Super Bowl is about. Your picks, if you have any, and maybe Gus has some as well.
Gus might have some. He seems intrigued to talk. Mine are going to be 2 specials from FanDuel, but the first one is the Super Bowl record rushing yards. It's only 205 yards. I think that is completely within Saquon's realm of to do.
I think he's done that already this year, like twice.
Pretty sure. And I mean, you break 2 big ones, the rest of the game's cake, which he's done probably both of those games. The other one, though, just because we saw it the other day, also having to do with Saquon. Saquon to score his first touchdown on his first attempt. Why not? Like Jackson said, he thinks they're going to come out hot. Why not come out as hot as you possibly could be?
Why not? I mean, he did it last game.
Exactly.
That would have been a crazy bet to have. I love the specials around this time of year. That's the best. I was looking over here, and while you guys were talking, there's a couple that really caught my eye. One, just because I bet it 2 or 3 years ago whenever they played the same exact matchup, Jalen Hurts to score an octopus. It won. It hit. They actually needed that for that to become like a one possession game.
Yeah.
So that I'm gonna probably choose that. It's a plus 2,100 on FanDuel. And then I saw two interesting ones that are also really big risks, but any non-QB to record a passing touchdown.
Yeah.
It's the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah.
Last time the Philadelphia Eagles won a Super Bowl, guess what? They needed a play to get there.
Mhm.
That might be possible. And then the last one I saw, where is it? Oh, this kind of plays in with maybe the trick play-ish kind of thing.
Yeah.
Any offensive lineman to score a touchdown at plus 3,600. Don't know why. If the Lions were in here, I'd feel like this is a lock.
Yeah.
But I don't know why, but I feel like they're willing to try something stupid. Andy Reid and you've literally been saving one or two plays
Yep.
this whole year for this exact game.
Mhm.
There's no going, there's nothing after this.
Yeah.
Nick Sirianni's a wild man. He likes to go for it on fourth down.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Andy Reid will have any issue going for it on fourth down in this game.
Yeah.
I think it's possible. I think trick plays are going to be huge.
Yep.
Again, last time we saw Philly win, that's what happened. So,
Mhm.
those will be my picks. I'll probably bet on like the coin toss or something too if I can find it. But I'm looking to bet just all stupid things, and then I might sprinkle a little bit of money on Chiefs money line or Chiefs to cover the spread.
Yeah.
Because I just don't want to bet against Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. I think
At the end of the day,
I think the safest bet, in my personal opinion, is going to be the over. I think
it's only like 49.5.
Yeah,
isn't
I
it?
think this is going to be a very high-scoring game.
Crazy.
Would not be shocked if both teams scored over 30, 35 points.
That's what happened last time.
Because I think everyone's going to start especially if it gets to the end of the game, you want to waste as much time as possible, but you also don't want to get on your back foot. And I think I think this is more of a second half thing, but I think whoever slows down first is probably going to be the team that doesn't win, in my personal opinion, because the second you let off the gas with the Eagles on the other side, the Eagles are going to score back-to-back touchdowns, and you're down 2 touchdowns. It works the same way for the Chiefs. If the Eagles kind of fall back on their back foot and kind of have a few bad possessions, the Chiefs are also a team that will score very quick on you and get up on you very fast. So I think that's going to be the main point, is just matching each other. If they do something, you got to do it and do it better.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's just going to be key to victory in terms of both of them. I think it's going to be a lot of points scored, and I think you can't go back on your back foot, because as soon as you do, the other team's going to jump on you, and that's probably going to be the game.
Any last thoughts or, I guess, omens, prayers?
Oh, no,
Rituals.
I won't do any of that against them. I'll die. I won't wake up tomorrow. No, we'll just let them do all. I won't stoop to their level.
Yeah.
So we'll let them do all the devil magic.
Yeah, I guess that's all of our takes on the Super Bowl. It's going to be fun. It's still 2 weeks away. We'll decide if we're going to have an episode next week. Probably not, just because there's nothing unless something crazy happens in the sports world.
Mm-hmm.
I guess last little notes not involving the Super Bowl, just little sports news. Miko Rantanen traded from the Avalanche. Sucks for us Avs fans.
Yeah.
Miko, the Moose, your nickname buddy, gone to the Carolina Hurricanes. Jimmy Butler suspended from the Heat again. Probably going to get traded here soon. De'Aaron Fox requested a trade today from the Sacramento Kings, which is probably...
That's crazy. I didn't see that.
Yeah. And did you see his preferred destination? The San Antonio Spurs. Him and Wemby together. Oh, that could be scary for years to come. I'm not very excited because he averages like 25 points a game right now. De'Aaron Fox does. And they're like 10-4 with their new interim head coach that they got.
Hot take, I don't think Jimmy gets traded.
You just think he's...
I think they're going to make him sit. I think Pat Riley's going to prove a point.
Make him lose all this money. Him and Pat Riley got beef.
I know, and I think Pat Riley's going to be like, you're under contract. At the end of the day, it's my say. So I don't care how much of a tantrum you want to throw. You're going to sit on the bench. I don't care if I have to play Haywood Highsmith. I don't care.
Free Jimmy, bro. I love Jimmy Butler, and I always kind of have. I just want him to be happy and successful. And I think it's just ridiculous that you think that sitting somebody's going to make them go like, yes, sir. Like,
he is losing money, though. He is losing money.
Yeah, but I think it gets to a point where it's just like, we also have Jimmy Butler, and he's not going to play. That's a big part of our team. Like, is
a lot of wasted money.
Is saving a little money worth not being competitive, like, at all? Like, that's
apparently a few teams have reached out to them and lowballed the shit out of them, but Brian Windhorst won't say what teams. And Brian Windhorst always knows something. So,
which I get, because that's the type of player I feel like you could get a decent amount of something for. So I get waiting on something. Like, there would be a difference if Pat Riley was like, hey, we're trying to get a good deal here. Just play a couple games for us. We're going to try to get a good deal out of this. We're going to get you somewhere else, but for right now, play for us. And I just don't think that communication's there, and I think there's just a lot of hatred in that locker room currently.
My hot take, I think he does get traded, and I think he ends up in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
I think Joel Embiid, this is a conspiracy I heard on the internet, probably shouldn't do. Joel Embiid just been sitting out this whole time trying to lobby to get Jimmy Butler back to Philly and get Paul George the hell out of there because he's been that bad this year. And Miami's a 6 seed. If they get Paul George, a team of Paul George, if he's healthy, Bam Adebayo, their rookie Khalil Ware's been balling this year. Tyler Hero's still there. They're the 6 seed. They're not even in the play-in like they've been the last 4 years with Jimmy Butler. So, and they just were in the finals 2 years ago. So I don't know. A lot of stuff going on over there. Tiger Woods League. Yeah. TGL last night. First one I watched like fully. It was awesome.
It was electric. Yep.
Rory, Tom Kim, Keegan Bradley, Tiger, obviously. It was awesome to watch. Tom Kim just loves talking shit.
Yep.
So that's awesome.
That was desperately needed, what happened last night in the TGL.
Yes.
Because I think Tiger was probably shaking in his boots being like, fuck, if every single thing is a blowout, this is the most boring shit to watch ever. But when it happens like that and you're going into overtime in TGL tied 3-3, you've been just going back and forth on holes. Rory makes a big putt and then they throw the hammer down and then Tiger kind of matches them with it. I mean, that's just exactly what they envisioned when they did it, and it's just awesome to see. I also love just seeing like up close and personal, like how these like players go about it.
Yeah, they're like on mics and stuff.
Yeah, like Tiger was before the match, looked at his mom, he's like, I'm not gonna suck tonight, Mom, I promise. So it's just interesting to see that close and to kind of like how they play when there's not that much stakes. And I think we could see some of these guys like actually making a pretty good push during the year because of just that competitive spirit staying. When they're on that kind of off season, it's one of those things where they keep their skill and they practice, but like the competitive nature maybe flows away a little bit and they have to regain that when the season starts. This keeps that competitive nature going. And I think it's great for Tiger, too, who, maybe only has a few years left to play in, PGA golf, but he could do this for another 10, 15 years.
He doesn't have to walk.
Successful. Yeah, so I think it's really interesting what they're doing. I think it's got a really bright future. I think it just needs to make sure that more are like that.
Competitive.
I'm sure they'll come up with a couple more rule changes after this year, after their kind of trial run, to make it a much more desirable thing to watch. So I'm excited to see what they do.
Last thing I could think of that was going on in the sports world was just a wild night of college basketball last night. Duke almost lost their game. I forget who they were playing. But one of their guys threw up on the court. I don't know if you guys saw that. That was hilarious. And apparently a girl passed out in the student section from watching the guy throw up.
That's hard.
Dead serious. That's insane. Caleb Love hit like a half-court shot.
That was electric.
To send them in Iowa State into overtime. Cannot wait till we can talk college basketball once football season's over and once like the conference championships are coming up. March Madness. We're going to try to get somebody on for that time to be a guest. And yeah, I mean, a lot of sports news at the perfect time.
Yep.
Especially in this dead week of the Pro Bowl, which who cares at this point? We get some good news, and I think the NBA trade deadline is, I think, maybe like next week or something like that. All-Star break's coming up soon. Everything's coming into picture.
Oh, yeah.
And golf, like we just talked about, golf's coming back soon. The official start of spring, the Masters in April.
Yep.
I'm excited. So, we'll decide if we have an episode next week. If you made it this far, thank you for listening. Go follow, subscribe, do all that. Tell a friend, share a friend above Jackson's head, or all the links are in our bio. Maybe merch coming soon to Scott's wanting. So we'll see maybe about that. So if not, go shop Verb Energy Bars, go shop Slove, and we'll see you maybe in a couple weeks. So yeah, go tell somebody you love them. You may just make their day. Peace.